Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's Robert Phoenix. That's right, it's me. And it is the final day of 2019. And it is also theoretically the final day of the 2010s. And I'm going to spend a little bit of this fairly brief show today, kind of looking back on 2010s, and also want to spend a little bit of time looking at and dissecting a video that surfaced over the weekend. In fact, it actually surfaced on Sunday night when I was doing a live show. It's a little bit late today. It is the end of the year, and I'm getting ready to go on a little bit of a roadie. And for some strange reason, the gods of Facebook have decided to let me back on. That was the fastest 30 days ever. Wow. I guess Facebook must have thought that I was good for ratings or some stupid shit like that. Right? Let's see what we got here. There's Lori, Misty, Isla, Charles. Hey, what's happened? JMP. Man, it's a little, we got the late crew today. But hey, it's a day off, right? Theoretically. Oh, speaking of the late crew, you know who's here. You know who's ready and willing and able to rock the cat spa. That's right. It's this guy. And 2019 was the emergence of Jasper, the superstar. Absolutely. The only cat on the internet that has his own astrological walk-up song. Let's see if we can cue that up for one final time here in 2019. Let's see if we get the Jasper song. That's right here. Jasper, do you want to hear your song? Do you want to hear your song, buddy? I bet you do. Again, I want to thank Gabrielle and crew back there in Sedona. Let's see what we got here. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's do a little shareage. Not Sedona, I'm sorry. Joshua Tree, my bad. Joshua Tree. There we go. All right. Let me make sure I have this. Hold on one second. Hold on. There are things that have to be done here, not just your standard operation. All right. For the final time of 2019, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3.
Jasper, the astrological cat. Look up your chart, show you right where you're at. It's Jasper, the astrological cat.
Right. Jasper, the astrological cat. Jasper, it's been a great decade. Jasper actually came into my life in 2011. So Jasper has been with me for almost the entirety of the 2010s, and I was there the very first day that Jasper popped into our lives. There's a scrawny little street kitty who would not come out. So the two cats were placed in a kind of an observation room, and two cats being Jasper and Rosie. And Rosie, of course, Miss Personality, very, very lovely, very charming. And this guy, you couldn't get him from out behind one of the chairs or desks or whatever was giving him cover. I'm like, do we really want this cat? I'll be honest with you, if it was up to me, Jasper wouldn't be here because he seemed like he was a basket case. And you know what? He was a basket case. He was a street cat. But, you know, there's a story of redemption. That Jasper can go from a street cat to an internet star. And if Jasper can do it, and if that's what you aspire towards, guess what? You can do it as well. Absolutely. Jasper, it's been a great year right here on 15 Minutes of Flame. So yeah, so I'm back on Facebook. I just popped in there. I'm like, whoa, I have all kinds of permissions again. I'm a free man. How about that? I don't know why. It said 30 days. I'm like, 30 days is a hell of a long time. But apparently I'm in the good graces of Lord Zuckerberg once more. And it's with a great deal of honor that I wear my first Facebook timeout. But that means I'm still doesn't mean I'm gonna still, I mean, there are other social platforms that I do want to explore that are kind of opening me up to a bunch of other things. Hey, I just want to say thank you for Chatlandia and all you guys who have been here throughout the year and have kind of propelled this from online to offline. We did the event this year that was really terrific. I've got another event lined up, ready to cook. It's going to be the first week of October. So I'm just letting you know right now that if you want to get on the train, right? We're talking like a really cool time, great time to be here in the Hill Country, in Texas. The best weather is in the fall. It's going to be about 2 weeks earlier than last time, which means we're going to get a bit more summer weather. So we didn't get a lot of time or opportunity to use the pool last time, but that's going to be on. I got a whole new set of activities that I'm working on in my head, new speakers. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a blast. It'll be a reunion for some, and I'm sure we'll welcome some new people in as well. So 2019 will always be the year that we went from online to offline, from virtual to 2019, from virtual to real. I'm really psyched about it, and I'm really excited about 2020, even though it's starting to shape up like a bit of a shit show. But why not? Just get your umbrella. Just be like the people in Hong Kong, who use their umbrellas to stay occluded from Big Brother. We'll just use our umbrellas to stay occluded from the shit show that's raining down upon us. So speaking of a shit show, I kind of wanted to get into this video. I'm going to try to get out of here by about 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, because I'm going to go on a road trip. Oh yeah, I'm hitting the road. That's right. Cue up Steppenwolf. Born to be Wild. It's not a very long one though. Anyway, so I wanted to cue up this video for a second. Now, this event happened on Sunday night, just kind of north of Dallas, and I was doing the show, and I was seeing something was taking place, and I didn't really want to break in because I had kind of an idea and kind of a path that I wanted to take with the show, but I was like, well, something's going on here. Really grabbed my attention, right? So what it was there was a shooting at a church, and apparently the church was having the Sunday service, right? And supposedly some lone gunman came in and decided he was going to shoot up the church. Now, we've seen a number of these church and supposed synagogue shootings over the last few years. The first one that happened was in Columbia, and I believe it was Columbia, South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, right? And what happened, that was, I believe, the Dylan Roof shooting. And when that occurred, I looked at this thing like there's something really wrong about this event for a number of reasons. Number one, the reaction of the people that experienced that shooting was like, what? Really? Are you kidding me? It was so bizarre, and it was so disembodied. And again, just to remind you, Dylan Roof went into a church in South Carolina and supposedly have been sporting a number of Confederate flag images over on Facebook and Twitter. Of course, it has to be known that this is, where his head and consciousness of that. Now, meanwhile, it doesn't really matter that he had numerous Facebook posts prior to that where he was seen hanging out and being friends with kids, guys, girls who were so-called black, called African American. Okay, there was no hint of any racism in any of those photos, and there were quite a few of them. And then all of a sudden, overnight, he just turns on the dime and decides he's going to become, the understudy to the Grand Dragon Wizard or some shit like that. So, and he had this absolutely kind of Pillsbury Doughboy look at him. There was like there was no malice in this kid's face. What you saw was somebody was kind of screwed up facially. So this happens, and then of course the parishioners of the church and the relatives, they're all just drinking the instant forgiveness Kool-Aid. Have you ever been or seen a so-called black African American funeral? Well, it's very emotional, very, very emotional, and well, it should be. Right, because when somebody dies and there's grief, you got to let it out, right? This is a really important occurrence. You're kind of bottling up and having it stoically held in reserve is not always the best medicine. There's a lot of emotion involved, and rightfully so. That's not what I saw. That's not what I saw. It's not what I picked up. It was all very rational. It was all very logical. It was all up here. There's something really wrong about this. How can these people be on the forgiveness track 48 hours after this has happened? It was bizarre, to say the least. This is one of the events that's happened during the 2010s. So I began to look into the South Carolina event a little further, a little closer, a little deeper. And what I found was that the amount of, again, theoretical carnage and blood that took place during that time was, how shall we say, murderously economical, meaning that the amount of time that the shooter was there and the amount of deaths that occurred in that church was, you'd have to be a really great shot, okay? And there's no history of this guy either owning guns, really, or going out and shooting and practicing. Like, if you're going to go out and theoretically shoot a bunch of people, you better know what you're doing, because you can have a jam, your weapon can kick back on you, and if you're really serious about, theoretically killing people, then you're going to be invested in it. You're just not going to show up, right? And that was one of the things that was a disconnect for me, was that if you look at the body count and out of time, it's pretty staggering how quickly it all occurs. Now, that said, I also looked at the map, and I looked at where the nearest police station was, the nearest sheriff's office. I did the map time, the route time, and they could have easily have been there between the time the shooting started and the time the shooting stopped. I mapped it out. It's not impossible. So why weren't they very quickly? And then once they found Dylan Roof, which was after the fact, by the way, I believe it was the sheriff's department who picked him up, if I'm not mistaken. They took him out to lunch. Hey, Dylan, why don't we go get y'all some burgers? Let's get some burgers before we take y'all downtown. So I don't know where this kid is now, if he even exists at this point. There's nobody. What's also really interesting is that, remember when Charlie Manson was bouncing around his cell in California? Remember how many journalists were able to interview Charlie Manson? When have any journalists interviewed any of these so-called perps? You'd think that you'd want to get into the mind of a perp. I haven't seen any interviews. No, not one interview with Dylan Roof. Not one interview with John Earnest. in San Diego. Not one interview with Robert Lee Bowers, and I don't even know where the hell he is. Now, remember, Robert Lee Bowers, there's always three names. Robert Lee Bowers is the guy that, again, supposedly went into a synagogue in Pittsburgh, one that's affiliated with George Soros' son, and if I'm not mistaken, Jared Kushner's brother. Okay, so it's connected to Chabad. Anyway, Lee Bowers goes in there, supposedly kills a bunch of people, and where is he now? Where is the trial? Where is he gone? Down the memory hole. There is no trial. There's no nothing. Zero, zilch, nada. And again, his background, scant. A scant background. Not much there. Not much to hang your hat on. Nobody knew him. There was maybe one picture of him in high school. Maybe lived in some kind of ragtag little monthly cottage, weekly cottage rental in Pittsburgh. There's no history. None. And there's no future either. Ties have evaporated. John Ernest. Ernest has a significant past. And we got into the John Ernest connection with the Aurora shooter and where they actually come from. And Father is very interesting stuff. If you haven't seen that show, you should go back and check it out. But John Ernest, of course, he takes his guns into a synagogue just outside of San Diego. I believe it was Poway, if I'm not mistaken. Poway. And what's interesting about that event in the aftermath of it is one of the guys that theoretically got shot is now actually suing the synagogue because apparently the synagogue got a grant of $150,000, a grant for security. And apparently the security wasn't secure enough. So now he's suing the synagogue because he got shot. And whatever they did with that money, they didn't really spend it on better security. Since when do churches or synagogues get grants from the federal government? Your taxpayer, they already have tax-free status, but now your taxpayer dollars are being invested in the infrastructures of these places of worship so that they can be safe and secure. We had another church shooting not far from here. I believe it was Big Spring, Texas. Very odd, middle of the week kind of a deal. Very strange. And again, the shooter this time was killed by somebody who was chasing him and actually had a gun. So I guess the message here is that in Texas, you can use a gun and kill people who come in and shoot and fire up your places of worship. So we have now 2 synagogue shootings and we have 3 church shootings. So that's a total of 5 that come to the top of my mind. Now, recently in New Jersey, there was a synagogue stabbing, and that took place about a week before this church shooting, which is quite unusual. So now we're up to 3, at least 3 in the past, say 4 years, 3 synagogue acts of violence and 3 churches. Now we're 3 and 3, so we have 6. But what's interesting about the synagogue stabbing is that it took place about a week after these 2 people went into the grocery store there that was in Jersey City, and they went in and they started to shoot up the grocery store. And what was bizarre was that they were labeled white supremacists and white terrorists, when in actuality they weren't white at all. They were members of the Black Hebrew Israelites, and going in and shooting up a grocery store. There's a backstory behind this, by the way. There's a backstory, because apparently what's happening in Jersey City is that there's a turf war taking place. And there are a number of Hasidic members of the Jewish faith who are going into Jersey City and buying lots of real estate. And and offering people money to move, and people don't want to move. They want to stick around. They want to keep their houses. They want to pass their house down to their kids. You know, it's generational. And then when they decide that they don't want to move, then they're threatened because they want them out, right? So there's this tension that's going on now in Jersey City, which is apparently why some of these things have happened. Because the people there are saying kind of enough is enough, right? We don't want to be pushed out of our neighborhood. We want to hold on to our homes. And you can look it up. There's plenty of reference material around this. Maybe I'll even leave some links in. Because people say, show me some links. How do you know? How do you know? I'll just show it to you. I don't talk about anything that I don't formally know or understand. Let that be the case, right? Well, let that be known. So what's odd about this now is that the so-called shooter, who I'm going to get into in, you can't make this up. The church that was the subject of the shooting is in a place called White Settlement. Just think about that for a moment. White Settlement. And there were two people besides the shooter that were killed. Again, theoretically, one happened to be black and one happened to be white. So now we have the duality, right? The black and the white. And what's odd about the video and the shooter, I'm going to play some of this for you, is that the first kind of murmurs out of this event was that the shooter happened to be so-called black, right? Okay, so this is kind of the backstory. But then as his name gets released, no, he's not black at all. And in fact, there's a wig and a beard. There's a lot of anomalies, very strange stuff here with this shooting. Oh, and by the way, one of the guys that was shot, his last name happens to be White. Again, rather odd kind of synchronicity, shall we say. High strange, at the very least. So the guy, the shooter, let's bring him up here because I haven't have him ready to go. Da, 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 da. Really here. No, I always looking for something. Okay. And I just had this. I just had this damn thing up here. Give me one sec. Oh, I think it's because I went into Facebook. That's why. I was so happy to join my peeps. Yes, I went into Facebook because I wanted to look at the profile of the shooter or one of the victims. Here we go. This is the guy right here. I'll just show this to you. We knew he was crazy, but not like this, ex-wife of church gunman says. So what are some of the things we've been talking about? We've been talking about red flag laws and pre-crime. Okay, red flag laws and pre-crime. So apparently this is the guy, Thomas Kinnunen, and described his ex-wife as battling a demon and not nice to anyone. Kinnunen was believed to have been wearing a disguise, including a fake beard and a wig. Okay, does this really make sense? When he stood up from a pew during communion, pulled a shotgun from his clothing and opened fire inside North Texas church, killing 64-year-old Anton Wallace, the church deacon from Fort Worth, and 67-year-old Richard White of River Oaks. And remember, this is White Settlement. Shot 2 people at a White Settlement church. So there's some strange alchemy going on here. Very, very strange alchemy. We're dealing with, again, this dark alchemical blend of the black and the whites, where you had Anton Wallace, who was black, Richard White, who was white, black and white both being shot. It taking place in a place called White Settlement. So none of this is by accident, by the way, not at all. So again, what are we talking about here? We're talking about, well, you're allowed to carry guns in churches in Texas. Now that's being debated. And hey, you know, I don't have a gun. I support the Second Amendment. I don't have one. And I do support the fact that people can go into a church and carry. I have no problem with that. Now, one could make the case theoretically that because there was a guy there, we'll talk about him in a moment, that he was able to save a lot of other people's lives. But this really falls into the pre-crime bucket, right? This is where, oh my God, this motherfucker's crazy. Let's get him off the streets. Does he have a gun? Moves into this category of being able to theoretically determine who dangerous people are before they become dangerous and stopping them in their tracks. And they're working on this, by the way. They're working on this right now. This is one of the things that Bill Barr and the Trump administration is working on. And here's another test case for that. But again, there's something about these shootings happening in these places of faith and the most sacred and holy sanctuaries that are available to us, apparently. The weird thing now, and there's a reason why I brought up New Jersey. The weird thing is this guy, Thomas Kinnunen, was in New Jersey recently, like as late as like a couple of weeks ago. What is he doing in New Jersey? What's he doing? This is a guy who theoretically is, you know, homeless, nuts, batshit crazy, possessed by a demon. You fill in the blanks. What's he doing in New Jersey? Well, he was actually pulled over in New Jersey. And they asked him, well, what are you doing here? And he said, oh, I like taking pictures of interesting things. No offense to anybody in New Jersey. But I could think of other places that I'd go to take pictures of interesting things. Again, no offense. For a lot of people that listen to the show, watch the show from New Jersey, we all have civic and state pride. I get that. But if you really wanted to take pictures of interesting things, well, you could have gone to New York, which I think is a little more interesting. It's just me. A little more interesting New Jersey. And I even lived in New Jersey as a kid. First 5 years of my life, they were very fine times. Fine times. I was treated like a little prince there. I have fond remembrances of New Jersey. And of course, I like that part of the world anyway. New Jersey, Philadelphia, New York, I love it there. So I just thought it was odd that he would wind up in New Jersey to take photos of interesting things. Really? Interesting. I guess if you want to, there are interesting things everywhere. We could play this in a couple different directions. Like there are interesting things everywhere. If you have the eye for it, like, oh, isn't that shit interesting? Let me take a picture of that. Do you really have to go to New Jersey? What would drive him? Is the demon in his head saying, Richard, you must go to New Jersey. There are interesting things there, and you must capture them on your cell phone. Yes, I'm going to New Jersey to photograph interesting things. All right, so we've established he was there. And it's odd, right? Because we just had a flurry. And I'm not saying that he was involved in that violence. I'm not making that connection, but I am making the connection that in the last 2 weeks, we've had two significant events in New Jersey and one significant event in Texas. And this guy was in both places. It's just a notice. Just an odd notice. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play you the video. And I have slowed this thing down a bit. so that you can actually watch it. And I'll have some commentary along the way, but it's slowed down. And I'm just giving you a fair warning now that there's some graphic violence in the video. So please be advised, I'm giving you fair warning. If you do not want to see the video, you can pause the video, or you can just turn it off right now. And I'm going to count to 10. And when I'm done counting, I'm going to go to the video. Okay, so let's bring it up. Let's see what we got here. Okay, this is the one that I have in slow-mo. And I'm going to narrate this along the way. And this is probably the highest res version that I could find on the internets. Okay, so here's the video. This is where it all starts. Now, just keep an eye on this thing. The so-called shooter is over here. This is him. The people that will be involved in the event will be here, here, and here. This guy is an ex-FBI agent, and he owns, guess what? The shooting range. He's packing. He's ready to go. Now, we have this pastor up here, and apparently, if you want to join this church, being bald-headed is actually a prerequisite. I've never seen so many bald heads. Bald head, bald head, bald head, Mr. Bald Head. Right, probably go in here and find a few more. So being bald-headed is kind of a good, I guess it's a good thing. Or maybe this is the church where they're trying to get their hair back. Sorry, I'm being a little facetious today. But look at everybody. I just want you to take a look at them, that there is this kind of staged quality in this moment. Stage quality in the moment. And so apparently they just had communion. Some people are having a prayerful moment. That's what it kind of looks like. All right, so this is going to be in slow motion. Let's watch this thing go down. Okay, so now he's up. All right, let me stop it right here. This has to go away, this band. Okay, so you can see him over in the far corner. Now, what's interesting is there's one camera here. One. And it's on the exact opposite side of the church. So we can't really get a good look. What we do get is this kind of wide angle panoramic shot. Okay, so keep your eyes on key people. There's only one person that is really responsive to what happens. And that person is over here. This part kind of blows me away. You have this little girl and her mother. And with the exception of this woman over here, everybody seems like they're just NPCs. It almost feels like it's this dark city kind of thing where they're just sitting there, and then once the shot goes off, everybody's activated. It's very odd, but let's watch. So now, keep your eye on the corner. He's getting up. He's got this long beard thing. He looks out the window. He's turning towards the window. Now he's turning around. You see that? So this is an interesting development right here. Let's just go back for a second. Why does he go to the window You want to see if there's anybody around, or is he actually getting a visual cue from somebody who's near the window? Okay, see what he's doing? Very hard to look at or watch, but he's there. And now he turns and he approaches this deacon. And he comes in and he starts to give him some lip. And he's bending over, and I don't know what it says on his jacket. It almost feels like it says security or something like that. But he's giving him some lip. Now this guy, here, let me just show you. Hold on a second, because we're about to get this guy over here begins to interact with him. And this guy's carrying a gun. But he's as slow as molasses on the drop. This is Mr. White, by the way. All right. Now, again, watch what's happening. Keep your eyes on the parishioners. Okay, now he pulls out the shotgun. This guy over in the corner gets up. He's like, now the woman who's next to him and this other woman start talking. Everybody else is still in this catatonic state. There's the first shot. And he kills the guy with the gun. Then he kills the pastor. And now he goes, right? So that's bang, bang, bang. What? Check this out. Now, once the shots go, everybody starts to duck and cover. Keep your eye on the woman with her kid over here in the corner. It's very bizarre. I don't know what's going on here. Shock, trauma, quite possibly. But everybody else is ducking for cover. This kid is watching the whole thing go down. It's very strange. Just watch again. Here we go. Let's back it up. He goes to the window. Now here comes the beef. There's some kind of a beef going on here. Bark, 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 bark. Dude on the pew by the wall sees what's happening. Look to the women right next to him. They're starting to get a sense that something's going down. Everybody else is still NPC'd out. He pulls his gun, and then he is so slow. Meanwhile, the FBI guy is down in the corner. He's getting his gun ready. Now, I want you to look at this. Everybody's going down, right? This kid and her mother are just watching this whole thing. Again, it could be shock. But to me, this is so bizarre. It's so bizarre. And he's going to take one shot here. And I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to play you the audio. Let me stop this for a second. I want to play the audio because, okay, you're getting the audio. Okay, good. Good. If you listen to the audio, all the shots sound the same, right? Boom, boom, boom. Well, of course, two of them are going to sound the same because they're shotgun shots. But the shot coming from his handgun sounds exactly the same as the shotgun shot. And it shouldn't, theoretically. And, all right, I don't know the acoustics of this church, but very loud, very resonant. Okay, here we go. Let's back it up. And let's go from when he gets up out of his pew. It's right there. Start from 0. Here we go. The NPCs are just sitting there. He gets up. He goes to the window. This is key. And you can see that he's got this incredibly long beard. And for first 24 hours, everybody was saying that this guy was so-called black or African American. But then, of course, there's this other identity that pops in. I'm not sure what the story is here. I'm just giving you what they're giving me and trying to understand what my eyes are seeing here. So now he's got a beef with this guy. And I guess maybe the guy told him to sit back down. The guy with the hat is the guy that's got the gun back here. He's got to wind up getting involved. Okay, so now the shotgun comes out. The guy is really slow on the draw. Okay, there's one shot, two shots. Now here's the third shot. It sounds exactly the same. And those are different calibers. Now everybody decides that they're going to hit the deck. But after it's all said and done, they return to a state of normalcy fairly quickly. Like, well, it is Texas. Now, this girl over here is losing her shit. This is where I think something actually happened. When you listen to her, she becomes incredibly emotional, right? She's losing her mind right here. Everyone's okay. Why don't we go over there, check it out. Now, if you were in this church, would you be sticking around? I'd be out the door. There's something bizarre about this event. Something really bizarre. The gal in the corner keeps losing it. If you listen in real time, gets the kid out of there. More kids. Just hanging out there. Grandma says, let's go, let's go. Oh, I'm just gonna take a little walk over here, see what's happening. Mr. Pastor on all fours. Is it safe? Is it safe, Bill? Yeah. Get up, you chicken shit. It's your church, goddamn. Well, they had no shortage of handguns there now, did they? Ready and waiting to go. But there's a lot of weird anomalies about this event, right? From the fact that everybody's just sitting there like getting queued up, ready to go. And then it happens. And the sound, let me play the sound one more time. Here we go. There he is. And I wish I could zoom in and make this bigger. I can't, though. I don't have the technology for that. If I, we'd lose some integrity of the image. We can't hear anything until the shot goes off. And he decides he's gonna be not so quick draw McGraw over here. The reason why this isn't fake is you can actually see when he's shot here. You can actually see when he isn't shot, when he's shot that, well, maybe you don't want to see it. There's a visceral effect. But the weird thing is all three shots sound the same, and they're not the same caliber. A shotgun sounds different than, what is that, a 32 maybe? Or, 38, maybe 38. Doesn't sound the same. 1, 2. And it was looking like he was going to go after the pastor. The pastor is scared shitless, man. Look at him. Yeah, I'm gonna just Get up here. And I'm just going to get on all fours. I'm going to crawl out of here. Meanwhile, everybody else is going over there to go check things out. It's his church. What's he doing? He wants to crawl on out of there. Guess he's being humbled, right? This is the thunder. This is the thunderclap. They're just milling around. Okay. We're going to go have donuts later. And the weird thing, too, again, this woman over here with her kid. Like, this whole thing is going down. And everybody is like hitting it. And the kid, look at this. And the kid is still there, still standing up. Everybody's going down. Finally, after the third shot is fired, right? She's looking around. This is so bizarre. And the only thing I can think of is that maybe there's some level of shock. But if that is your kid, first of all, I'm hyper vigilant anyway. If I see some dude with a shotgun, because I'm always looking around, there's where I'm going, right there. And this is after the third shot. And you got people squarely ducking for cover. Now, what's odd is that this guy's looking backwards. But they're just sitting there. And again, maybe I'll attribute it to shock, but it's just so bizarre. And then let's keep moving. Finally, okay, honey, let's get down after the third shot is fired. But then it doesn't take, this guy over here, he doesn't even really get down. He's like trying to watch the whole thing. You know, he goes here, gets his wife down, I guess. Well, that's good of him. You know, he's going to take a bullet for her if he has to. He's just watching, right? You stay there. I got you. You'd preach over here, though. Oh, I'm going to crawl out of here. That's a bad look. I'm sorry. It's your church, man. Go over there. See what's happening. This guy's got balls of steel, right? He's not even ducking. He's like, I'm gonna hold you down, and if something happens, I'm taking the bullet for you. And then he's one of the first ones up. He's like, okay, wait here. I'm gonna go see what happened. He's gonna go over there. Just wait. I'll be back. Meanwhile, the pastor's like, and this guy's like, get up off your knees. Get over there. Go see what's taking place. The whole thing was really strange. Really strange. All right. Let me check in with you guys. What are your thoughts on all this? No, I watched it. I watched it in fast motion. Trust me. My analysis is inaccurate. Well, what's inaccurate about it? In that crowd, that old, I'm sure there are several veterans, trained killers. What is inaccurate? My analysis is that something is wrong with this video, right? Something is wrong with this idea of the shooter. Something is wrong with the sound. The sounds are exactly the same. And I don't know what's happening there, but I'm just pointing a few things out, right? I'm pointing a few things out. So if my analysis is inaccurate, then what's the accurate analysis? Sure. Pastor was next target. How would you respond? He was the next target. Absolutely. How would I respond? I'd get down on my knees. But obviously, the guy's dead, right? He's dead. Everybody else didn't respond. Anyway, I'm just saying. Everybody else is walking over there. They actually showed a little less fear than the pastor. Just an observation. The deaf sit up front with a signer. There's some Christians going back to home worship. What else we have? Let's see. Shot goes off same time as the pistol, hence the same sound. Really? Shall we play it back? I think so. Let's play it back. There's the beef. First shot. One, two, third shot. They're not going off at the same time. Tess, I love you. They're not going off at the same time. They're not. Play it in real time. Let's see what we have. Hold on. Let me see if I have it in real time. Okay, so I don't have it in real time, but I have it at a faster time. And I'm not saying that nothing happened. Something did happen there, obviously. There's some very freaked out people. I'm just trying to wrap my head around the dynamics of this thing and why the camera is here and the event takes place all the way at the other end of the church. So this is a little bit faster. It is not real time, but it's definitely faster time. And the audio, you'll hear more of the audio. It sounds, give me 1 second. Here we go. All right. Okay. You hear the shot. You will hear the shots. They sound very similar. Here we go. The first one, second one, maybe a little bit different. So my feeling is that something happened. This is not a false flag, right? This is not a false flag. I think people died. I think people were traumatized. Let me be upfront with that. I'm not saying that this didn't happen, but there are anomalies with this thing that are strange, and I can't link them all together. But the fact that this guy shows up one way in disguise, perhaps. Turns out that he's been in New Jersey a couple weeks before, taking photos of things that are quote unquote interesting. Then you have a guy that's shooting him, taking him out, who's ex-FBI. I think that is it possible? Yeah, I think it's possible. He's got his own shooting range. So there's this weird confluence of being able to carry inside a church. Then you have the crazy guy who obviously in the right situation could be a candidate for a red flag law and a pre-crime, all colliding together in this, again, weird kind of, zone, the town of White Settlement, bizarre. Then you have the death of the two men on the pew, one black, one white, one's name is White. I mean, the whole kind of strange, high strange that's connected with this thing. And, but there's something going on here that isn't just some random guy coming off the streets, possessed by a demon, and a group of parishioners who are armed and ready to take him out. I think there's something else going on here, something beneath the surface of this event. And it's not readily apparent, but there are definitely some anomalies. So just be clear, I'm not saying nobody didn't die. I'm not saying it's BS, but I do think that there's definitely some high strange. And what are they going to do as a result of this? Where's the crisis? And the shots sound very, very similar, although there is a tiny, tiny bit of a difference with, well, I think it's probably 38, right? So to put it back out to you guys, what do you think? Do you think that the event happened the way it happened and it just went down that way? Do you think that there's something else going on underneath the surface of it? And if so, what do you think that is? Real organic people are not fine. I'd agree with that. The shotgun cannot be from anything else but the shotgun going. I don't say the shotgun didn't go off. They use 9mm now, 38. Okay. Probably 9mm. Sound a little different, a little bit. Very little recoil on the pistol. Pastor, not coward. Okay, he's not a coward. I'm sorry. I was taking a pot shot at the pastor. Everybody else was standing up. Everybody else was standing up. I don't know. It just would have been nice. Let me just say it would have been nice for him to get up on his feet and show some level of faith and courage. That's just my 2 cents, right? That's just my 2 cents. As a symbol of the church, no fear, right? No fear. I'm going to go meet my maker. I have no fear of death. I'm going to go meet my maker. Just would have been nice. Maybe I'm being too hard on Mr. Pastor. Just would have been nice. Would have been inspirational. Because I'm now looking at that video, like, look at that pastor, man. That dude's got some heart. He's not afraid. I just think it was a bad look. You can stand up for him, and that's fine. No problem. So, thoughts. Intuitively feels fishy. Okay, we got some people that says it feels fishy. Thank you. It feels a little fishy to me. And again, I'm not saying that somebody didn't die. These people didn't die. I'm not saying that at all. So let's be clear about that. All right? There were guns going off, and you can see if you look really closely that there's something happening with the 9mm and the head against the wall. Okay? So there are visual cues there that if you look, they're happening. But it does feel unusual. There's something about this event that feels quite strange. And the strange part for me is that this guy was just in New Jersey like 2 weeks ago. What is he doing in New Jersey? Why is he there? To take pictures of interesting things? That makes no fucking sense. No sense. And of course, we're going to get, the wife crazy, possessed by a demon, no motive. Who knows? Who knows? Another kind of lone wolf shooter. Meanwhile, there'll be some chatter and lots of Sturm and Drang about removing dangerous people like Thomas Kinnunen and removing them from the fray, getting them off the streets before they actually cause some serious damage, like what happened on Sunday night. So anyway, I just wanted to bring it up. I wanted to analyze it. I don't think it was, something about it does not feel like this is the official story. It just doesn't. That's my intuition. That's my intuition. There's something about this that feels off. And consequently, now here's the other thing too, right? Is that for a while I've been talking about how come you never see these events on the inside and we don't have video of a lot of these things because all these events that have taken place, whether it's a Walmart or something along those lines, we rarely see any video. If we do, it's really grainy. But now we have video on something. So here you go. Here's the video. The Matrix has responded. All right. Any other thoughts here before I sign off for the day? Play like slow-mo sounds so demonic. Clergy love the assumption of honor and valor. That's why perverts are attracted to the profession. No one wants to think it can be truly anything but perfect. Video quality is always suspect. This is a little bit better, Michael, but the angle, I mean, just think of the angle too. Like the event is taking place all the way at the other end of the church, so we can't really get kind of a bird's eye view on it. So it's very, very difficult. And the thing with him looking out the window, that was really unusual. It was almost like there may have been some kind of visual cue coming to him from the window. I don't think he was looking at the window to see if there was the gendarmes outside that were ready to go stop him. There's that strange moment. And then he turns and he pulls the shotgun out. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. And it's an unfortunate event. We're gonna have to deal with sort of the psychic trauma of it. Who knows? Maybe YouTube will take the video down. I don't know. But I just wanted to play it, and because what we do is we pull things apart and try to understand what's behind the scenes on some level. And that's without any other kind of stuff. Right? We're not looking at any of the astrology. There is some strange symbolism there, with the town and sort of this, this kind of dualistic ritualization, right? The death of the black and the white. The guy's name is White, and it's white. That part to me is part of the high strange piece, and the fact that this guy is he's what is in New Jersey 2 weeks before that? So strange. Anyway, I'd like to leave you something uplifting. The whole thing is fishy, but real people. I'm not saying they didn't. I'm not saying that they didn't get shot. Okay, let's be clear about that. I'm not saying this event didn't happen. I'm not saying that people didn't die. All right, I'm not saying that. And clearly, with the look on that one gal's face who's losing her mind, something very real is taking place there. But the underlying factors and the fact that you had this ex-FBI guy sitting there, right, he was just right there. And it could be one of those things like, well, the Lord works in mysterious ways. But he was sitting right there, line of sight, retired FBI, owns a gun range. And this one perfect shot, bang, ends the whole thing. So again, I'm not suggesting that this didn't occur. Because clearly something happened. What, how, the motivation, the high strange, that's a whole other story. And then where it goes from here, we'll find out. All right, thank you for being attentive today. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out and hanging in with me for 2019. And we started Friday, 15 Minutes of Flame. I think it was back around, 2015? So I've been doing this for 4 years now. 4 years, and pretty much every day, with some breaks here and there. But we're going to go right into this next decade, the 2020s. It's going to be rocking. It's going to be one of the weirdest, strangest, most powerful, potent, interesting, accelerated times in human history. And you're going to be here to witness it in all of its glory and desecration. So hang on to your hats, buckle your seatbelts, take your vitamins, say your prayers, get a good night's sleep, and do your very best to get better every day. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging in there. And by the way, your input does mean a lot. It means a lot. So if you have any comments, you want to leave it on the show page about the video, what your thoughts are, I'm certainly open to them. Certainly open to them. And if there's information that I've left out or I haven't uncovered, backfill it, throw it in there. And maybe we can get a deeper look into this very strange and unfortunate tragic event that is kind of how would I say this? A painful exclamation on the 2010s. And with that, from Jasper and I, in the heart of the hill country, I'm Robert Phoenix, signing off. Use your head to discern what's real, your heart to step in what's possible. And Happy New Year.